Join us on our 5-day road trip around Northern Ireland and Donegal, where we will visit some truly amazing places. Starting in Carrickfergus, we head up the Causeway coast to Cushendun Caves, which is a Game of Thrones filming location. Then, Kinbane Head, Carrick a Reedy Rope Bridge, Balintoy Harbour, another Game of Thrones site, White Park Bay, and the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Giant's Causeway. Then we visit Castlerock Beach and Cushendun Temple. Take in the beautiful views at Grianan of Aileach before driving through the heart of County Donegal to Glenveigh National Park and exploring one of the many walking trails on offer. Next, we explore parts of the Wild Atlantic Way, visit a ruined church at Poisoned Glen, then watch the sun go down over the dramatic Slieve cliffs. We continue along the Wild Atlantic Way to Ballyshannon, visit stunning Mullaghmore Head and the grave of the famous poet W.B. Yeats at Drumcliff Church in County Sligo. We also took a lovely walk through the forest of Ben Bulben, then a short drive to beautiful Glen Carlough and its pretty waterfall before driving back through the town of Enniskillen for our final night in Northern Ireland's capital city, Belfast. After a good night's sleep in Carrickfergus, we were looking forward to a full day of activity. We took the coastal route to our first destination, Cushendun Caves. The caves were the setting for one of the most iconic scenes in the Game of Thrones TV series, when Melisandre gave birth to the Shadow Assassin in Season 2. The caves are managed by the National Trust and are free to enter. The rocks have a reddish tinge to them, and if you look closely, you will see that they are made from red sandstone along with thousands of little stones. This formation took place over 600 million years ago, when this region was actually a desert, and is known as pudding stone, a type of conglomerate rock. We had a quick picnic overlooking the sea, and then made our way up the road to Kinbane Castle. The ruined castle, located on a craggy headland, dates back to 1547 and is reached by taking 140 steps down the cliffside. Good fitness is required, and care must be taken, especially if walking to the top of the rocky promontory. Our next stop was Carrick a Reedy Rope Bridge. This bridge has a history stretching back over 250 years, originally built by local salmon fishermen in 1755. They needed a way to reach Carrick a Reedy Island, where they set up seasonal fishing stations. Back then, the bridge was a simple structure, made with just wooden planks and ropes. Today, the bridge is maintained by the National Trust and is totally safe to cross, although quite nerve-wracking. Tickets cost £14 per adult, including parking. We took the coastal path from Carrick a Reedy Car Park down to Balintoy Harbour, another location used for the Game of Thrones series. Many fans visit this area, as it is simply stunning. We had an ice cream and a quick stroll around the harbour before heading back for the car and onto White Park Bay, where we had a long walk along this beautiful beach. Later, we had fish and chips, and then finished off this wonderful day at Giant's Causeway. This geological wonder of approximately 40,000 interlocking hexagonal basalt columns was formed 60 million years ago during ancient volcanic activity, where the lava flowed through fissures in the earth and then cooled and contracted to form these amazing shapes. It really was amazing to see. The next morning, we left our hotel in Coleraine and drove a short distance to Cushendun Temple. This historic building, perched high on a cliff top, was built in 1785 by the eccentric Earl Bishop Frederick Hervey. He dedicated the temple and its library to his niece. Then we had a quick stroll down to Castlerock Beach below the cliff, another filming location for Game of Thrones. The beach stretched for miles, and we would have liked to have stayed longer, but we had to get to our next destination, Grianan of Aileach. This large stone ring fort, located in County Donegal, dates back to the 6th or 7th century. It has been identified as the seat of the Kingdom of Aileach and one of the royal sites of Gaelic Ireland. The dry stone walls are 15 feet thick, and it is thought that the site may be a restoration of an even older site dating back to 1700 BC. After soaking up the amazing views and atmosphere of this place, we continued our journey into Glenveigh National Park, where we took a 40-minute walk along the lake to the castle and its beautiful gardens. There are lots of walking trails to choose from, but we were quite worn out from yesterday's activities, so we took our time driving through this remote area to our accommodation on the west coast of County Donegal, where we settled in for the evening. We had a lovely meal, some live music, and a few pints of Guinness before going to bed. The next morning, we were eager to get out and take in the delights of the wild Atlantic Way. After a walk on the pristine white sands of Magherarorty Beach, we set off towards Mount Errigal and the abandoned church of Dunluay. We would have loved to have hiked up the mountain, but it just looked so imposing. We settled for a picnic in the church grounds instead. Located in the poisoned glen, the church of Dunluay was erected as a lasting memorial to a lost love, much like the Taj Mahal. Built from white marble and blue quartzite, this beautiful building is a lasting memorial to a great love affair between James Russell, the landlord of the Dunluay estate, and his wife Jane, who commissioned the church after his death in 1848. We continued our journey south towards Teelin, where we checked into our bed and breakfast, and then drove up to the Slieve viewing point to watch the sun go down. The cliffs were spectacular, and it was a fantastic end to the day. After a delicious breakfast, we walked back up to the cliffs for one final look before hitting the road again, this time to Ballyshannon, birthplace of the legendary guitarist Rory Gallagher. Then we had a circular walk around Mullimore Head, one of the many wild Atlantic Way discovery points. We had been so lucky with the weather on this trip and felt truly blessed to be experiencing this beautiful country, which had been on our bucket list for quite some time. While in Sligo, it is impossible not to visit the grave of William Butler Yeats. The famous poet is buried in the grounds of Drumcliff Church, a picturesque setting below Ireland's very own Table Mountain, Benbulben. A lovely donkey called Eppie greeted us at our accommodation. We checked in, then went out for pizza before getting an early night in anticipation of our last full day. The next morning, we walked through Benbulben Forest, an easy trail below the steep sides of Benbulben. Then we moved on to Glencar Lough, where we spotted a man taking what looked like a pet sheep for a walk. Quite bizarre. And then a quick visit to Glencar Waterfall, a magical place, which is said to be the inspiration behind the Yeats poem, The Stolen Child. The last leg of our journey took us through Enniskillen, where we had a quick stop for lunch and then we continued on to our final stop, Belfast. Our hotel was situated in the Titanic quarter of the city, a vibrant quayside area where you can visit the historic docks and the Titanic Museum. We strolled along the iconic waterfront and then later that evening explored the Cathedral Quarter, with its quaint cobbled streets filled with bars and brightly colored murals. We had thoroughly enjoyed our time in Ireland and were so pleased to have finally found a bar that had traditional Irish music. It was an absolute treat and the perfect way to round off our holiday.